I last spoke to him in Davos. He is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Mohammed Yunus. He is a magnet for accolade and criticism. Wonderful to have you here.
Good to be here.
You got to help me here, and I thank Madeline Bunting for her help at The Guardian, pointing out that you're ancient, you're old, you're a sprightly 70, 71 yet? Are you
71, yeah.
And the guy that fired you was a 77-year-old finance minister. Only in Bangladesh could that happen. You were let go because of your age. That was the backstory.
That's true.
From the Grameen Bank.
That's right. Their position was that I should have resigned when I'm 60-year-old, and now I'm 71. Would I continue with my position? I said, you should have reminded me at 11 years back. Why 11 years later? But they insisted that I should quit, and I did quit.
There's been a lot of criticism. How do you respond to a global or a local Bangladesh criticism to this bank that you established, and established microfinance, something I'll suggest was absolutely revolutionary, even within development economics? Where did this turn into a criticism?
Well, the criticisms are always there. They cannot figure out how can you lend money to the poor people, still run a bank and make profit. Profit goes to the poor people as dividend because the bank is owned by the borrowers. So something fishy must be there, otherwise it doesn't make sense. We keep telling that, look, it's a very transparent system. People take the money, they use it for income generation purpose, they pay us back. Not only it works in Bangladesh and the rest of the world, it works right here in New York City. I was just coming from one of those groups who are taking the loan, and they are very happy with that, so I have no problem with that.
I am wrong in that I have a stereotype of Bangladesh. Check out this chart, folks. Let's bring it up here. I didn't know this. Here's Bangladesh exports. You can see it down here, Dr. Yunus. Up we go. This is just a nominal series, so if it was run log, it would be a little less showy. But nevertheless, Bangladesh as a country is not the stereotype that we know of 30 or 40 years ago. What does the West most get wrong about your Bangladesh?
People still think Bangladesh is the same old way that they knew about 30 years, 40 years back.
Yeah, that's the way I am, and I'm wrong.
It's absolutely wrong. It's a brand new country almost. The empowerment of women is a very significant part of Bangladesh today. It's the most dramatic change that happened to Bangladesh, I would say, is impact on women that took place. It's empowerment and the fact that they are participating in many different social and economic activities. And microcredit is all over the country. The kind of banking that we introduced in Bangladesh, which copied around, 80% of the poor families are within the network of Grameen microcredit program. So this is an enormous amount of money that goes into the hands of the poor people, particularly poor women.
Here's a chart which shows a divide per capita GDP, China, and then some of the other challenged economies. You've got U.S. GDP up top, and then China way below. I think that's a surprise to a lot of people in America, afraid of China. And then India and Bangladesh, of course, finding a struggle the many years out here. To close that gap, do you support, in a broad sense, the economics of Jeff Sachs or Bill Easterly? Do we need more incentives, as Dr. Easterly of NYU talks about, or is the Saxian idea of we need to put a lot more developed world money into poorer economies? Which of those two do you center on?
I would say that more institutional changes before we talk about the amount of money, before we talk about the incentive mechanism, because we need to change with the framework. Like, for example, financial system doesn't go into the areas where it's most needed, among the poor, among the remote people, and so on. We need a financial reform of the financial institutions.
How do you get them to pay back their loan?
Because they earn income, they pay you back. Because as they earn, they're paying back. Money is recovered on a weekly basis, so that makes it very easy. That's why it's spread all over the world. That's why it's easy, even in New York City, even in Omaha, Nebraska, in San Francisco, where we started this program.
This idea, folks, go read a Nobel lecture. It's one of the best sites in the web, the Nobel Prize web, where you learn the bio and the lectures of the various winners. Here's Dr. Yunus. Bring this up here, one of these quotes. Bring up the first quote, if you would, on poverty. One of your most famous sentences, in a poverty-free world, the only place you'll be able to see poverty. I love this. The Poverty Museum, when children take a tour, they would be horrified to see the indignity that some human beings had to go through. You throw that in the past tense. Can you say that now, that there's a poverty museum?
Not yet, but this should be created because every country should create their own poverty
But
museum.
Xavier Salahi Martin at Columbia would say the gloomsters have this wrong, that there is a developing Africa, a developing Bangladesh. It's not as bad at the margin as it was 20 years ago.
Absolutely. It's an emerging nation. There's lots of creativity right now, and the technology changes everything. Bangladesh is one of the countries in 10 years' time, every single person has mobile phone in their hand. 10 years back, 12 years back, there's only 500,000 telephones. Today, 65 million telephone subscribers in the country. So internet services are flowing into the remote areas through the telephones and so on. So the technology will be changing these countries, and the policies will change these countries very fast before we can figure it out.
If you were with President Obama, what would be your policy prescription for the United States to, at the margin, assist Bangladesh?
Of course, definitely we need assistance from global assistance, but that doesn't mean money will solve everything. It's a question of designing the right kind of thing. I'm talking about something called social business. Business today, what we have in the world is about making money. This is what we are concentrating. We are obsessed with making money. Another one is creating business to solve problems without having any interest in making personal gain. It's all collective gains, which is the social business. And we have created social businesses also.
Sounds like an idea from Michael Porter, his very influential article at Davos this year. Mohammed Yunus, thank you so much for coming by.